Okay, here's part 2 of section 8.5's video. In this part, we're going to talk about our loan payment schedules and what it means when I send my house payment to my bank, how much of it goes to my actual house and how much of it goes to the bank, and how it works when I send them a payment every single month for 30 years and how my house gets paid off according to my schedule. It's called a loan amortization schedule. When a loan is paid off through a series of regular payments, it is said to be amortized, which literally means to be killed off. Although each payment is the same, with each successive payment, the interest portion decreases and the principal portion increases. Meaning, at the beginning, when you send in your first payment, more of it goes to interest than it does the home. But as you pay off your principal amount more and more and more, then it kind of switches and interest portion decreases while more of it goes to actually paying off your home. Okay, so a document showing important information about the status of your mortgage is called a loan amortization schedule. What we're going to do is we're going to calculate the first 2 different payments, and we're going to see how much actually goes to interest versus how much goes to the principal. I'm not going to make you do the whole entire thing because that would be crazy, but I am going to ask us to do a couple just so you can kind of see how it works. Okay, so looking at this example number 2, it says here, prepare a loan amortization schedule for the first 2 months of a mortgage loan shown in the following table. It looks like our interest rate is 9.5%. It looks like the amount of our mortgage is $130,000. It looks like there are 180 payments that we're going to end up making because it's a 15-year loan. Okay. So every month for the next 15 years, we've got to make our payment. And what is kind of nice is they already gave us the payment amount. So we don't actually have to figure out the payment amount. They already used that formula from up above to figure out what our monthly payment is. They calculated that our monthly payment is going to be $1,357.50 every month for the next 15 years. Okay, so using that information, let's go ahead and figure out how much of that $1,300 is going to go toward interest versus going toward paying off your home. Okay, and we're going to do it for 2 different months. So let's start off with month number 1. Okay, let's do month number 1. In that first month, we've got to figure out how much money is interest. Okay, so if my starting balance is $130,000, and it's a simple interest rate, right? I'm not getting compound interest. I'm just getting interest on the amount that I borrow. I'm going to use the simple interest formula. Do you remember the simple interest formula to help us find the interest is PRT is the amount that we borrow times the interest rate times the time. That gives us the amount of interest that I'm going to accrue. So if my principal amount is $130,000 and my interest rate is 9.5% or 0.095 if I put it as a decimal, and I want to do it for 1 month, remember I'm just going to make the payment on this amount for the first month. I don't want to put 1 there because remember that T would be years and I don't want to do it for 1 year. I want to pay this payment just for the first time for 1 month. So I'm going to say 1 out of 12, right? 1 month out of 12. So I'm going to calculate how much interest is going to be accumulated on this amount. So putting that in my calculator, I ended up getting $1,029.17. What this means, in that first month, I'm going to end up owing $1,029.17 in just interest. Remember, my payment amount was $1,357.50. So if I'm going to use red here. If my interest amount was $1,029.17, remember that's for 1 month at 9.5% on the full amount is my interest of $1,029.17, but my payment was $1,357.50. A lot of my payment is going toward interest, right? Over $1,000 is. If my payment is $1,357.50 and $1,029.17 is going toward interest, well then how much of it is going toward my principal? Don't I have to subtract? I've got to figure out that if my payment is $1,357.50 and $1,029.17 is going toward interest, then isn't the rest of it going to go toward my balance? Which means really only $328.33 is going to pay off my home. This part is going toward interest. This part is going toward my home for the total of the $1,357.50 payment, right? Okay, so if I make a payment of $1,357.50 and only $328.33 is going off my balance, well, now how much do I owe? Well, originally, didn't I owe $130,000? Now my whole payment isn't going to pay all that off. Remember, a lot of it is going toward interest. Only $328.33 is coming off my balance. So at the end, at the end of that first month, how much do I still owe on my home? $129,671.67 is still my balance of my home. I barely paid anything off because remember, a lot of it went toward interest. Okay? All right, we got to do the same thing, but now for month 2. So in month 2, my balance isn't $130,000. Remember, now it's only $129,671.67. On that amount, I'm going to be charged interest, right? So let's use our simple interest formula again on that new amount to figure out how much interest I'm going to be charged. So remember, I now only owe $129,671.67. I'm being charged a 9.5% interest rate on that amount, so 0.095. And how long am I going to be charged interest on that exact amount? Remember, it's only for 1 month, so 1 out of 12. Because every month it's going to change, right? So let's calculate how much interest I'm going to accrue month 2. I ended up getting $1,026.57 in interest. So when I send in my payment of over $1,300, $1,026.57 now is going toward interest. If that amount is going toward interest, I've got to figure out now then how much is going toward my principal. If my payment was $1,357.50, and I know that $1,026.57 is going toward interest, then the rest of it, the difference, would be the amount that's going toward my principal, paying off my home. I ended up getting $330.93. Oh, I guess a little bit more than last month, but not very much. That's why it takes us 15 years to pay this off, right? Because only a little bit more is being paid off each month. So now let's figure out what our new balance is at the end of month 2. I don't know $130,000 anymore. I don't even know $129,671 anymore because I just paid off a little, right? So I had $129,671.61, but $330.93 is coming off my balance because the rest of it, remember, was going toward interest. So now how much do I owe at the end of month 2? I got $129,340.74. So at the end of month 2, I only owe $129,340.74. A little bit at a time is being paid off, and that happens every single month for 15 years. I'm not going to make you calculate all of those different payments, but I wanted you to kind of see what happens when you send in your first payment and how much of it actually goes to interest versus how much of it goes toward your principal amount. But as you send in your payment, more and more and more of your payment is going to go toward your principal than toward interest because your balance is dropping a little bit each time. Let me show you a completed version of, or a condensed version of one that's already completed. This is the same information that we did by ourselves. Remember, we did month 1 and month 2. But if you look at it over the period of time, do you see how your principal amount starts to increase? More of your money is going toward your balance, where less of it is going toward interest, so that at the end of all of your payments, every month for 15 years, your balance should drop down to 0. And that's how you end up paying it off over that time period. Okay? So on your test, I'm going to give you a loan amortization schedule, not a huge one, just a few months, and I'm going to ask you to kind of fill in the pieces. If you know how much is in interest, well, then how much would be in the principal? Or if you know how much that went to the principal amount, then how much would have gone to interest? Or if you know the two, can you figure out what your new balance would be? So can you kind of fill in the pieces for the different missing information on interest, principal, or the new balance amount? Okay? All right. The next little example we're going to do in this video is kind of an idea of paying off a car loan. So a car loan is another example